Paper 108, Mission and Ministry of Thought Adjusters. The mission of the thought adjusters to the human races is to represent, to be, the universal Father to the mortal creatures of time and space. That is the fundamental work of the divine gifts. Their mission is also that of elevating the mortal minds and of translating the immortal souls of men up to the divine heights and spiritual levels of paradise perfection. And in the experience of thus transforming the human nature of the temporal creature into the divine nature of the eternal finaliter, the adjusters bring into existence a unique type of being, a being consisting in the eternal union of the perfect adjuster and the perfected creature, which it would be impossible to duplicate by any other universe technique. Nothing in the entire universe can substitute for the fact of experience on non-existential levels. The infinite God is, as always, replete and complete, infinitely inclusive of all things except evil and creature experience. God cannot do wrong. He is infallible. God cannot experientially know what he has never personally experienced. God's pre-knowledge is existential. Therefore does the Spirit of the Father descend from paradise to participate with finite mortals in every bona fide experience of the ascending career. It is only by such a method that the existential God could become in truth and in fact man's experiential Father. The infinity of the eternal God encompasses the potential for finite experience, which indeed becomes actual in the ministry of the adjuster fragments that actually share the life vicissitude experiences of human beings. 1. Selection and Assignment. When adjusters are dispatched for mortal service from Divinington, they are identical in the endowment of existential divinity, but they vary in experiential qualities proportional to previous contact in and with evolutionary creatures. We cannot explain the basis of adjuster assignment, but we conjecture that these divine gifts are bestowed in accordance with some wise and efficient policy of eternal fitness of adaptation to the indwelt personality. We do observe that the more experienced adjuster is often the indweller of the higher type of human mind. Human inheritance must therefore be a considerable factor in determining selection and assignment. Although we do not definitely know, we firmly believe that all thought adjusters are volunteers. But before ever they volunteer, they are in possession of full data respecting the candidate for indwelling. The seraphic drafts of ancestry and projected patterns of life conduct are transmitted via paradise to the reserve corps of adjusters on Divinington by the reflectivity technique extending inward from the capitals of the local universes to the headquarters of the super-universes. This forecast covers not only the hereditary antecedents of the mortal candidate, but also the estimate of probable intellectual endowment and spiritual capacity. The adjusters thus volunteer to indwell minds of whose intimate natures they have been fully apprised. The volunteering adjuster is particularly interested in 3 qualifications of the human candidate. 1. Intellectual capacity. Is the mind normal? What is the intellectual potential, the intelligence capacity? Can the individual develop into a bona fide will creature? Will wisdom have an opportunity to function? 2. Spiritual perception. The prospects of reverential development, the birth and growth of the religious nature. What is the potential of soul, the probable spiritual capacity of receptivity? 3. Combined intellectual and spiritual powers. The degree to which these 2 endowments may possibly be associated, combined, so as to produce strength of human character and contribute to the certain evolution of an immortal soul of survival value. With these facts before them, it is our belief that the monitors freely volunteer for assignment. Probably more than one adjuster volunteers. Perhaps the supervising personalized orders select from this group of volunteering adjusters the one best suited to the task of spiritualizing and eternalizing the personality of the mortal candidate. In the assignment and service of the adjusters, the sex of the creature is of no consideration. The short time intervening between the volunteering and the actual dispatch of the adjuster is presumably spent in the Divinington schools of the personalized monitors, where a working pattern of the waiting mortal mind is utilized in instructing the assigned adjuster as to the most effective plans for personality approach and mind spiritization. This mind model is formulated through a combination of data supplied by the Super-Universe Reflectivity Service. At least this is our understanding, a belief which we hold as the result of putting together information secured by contact with many personalized adjusters throughout the long universe careers of the solitary messengers. When once the adjusters are actually dispatched from Divinington, practically no time intervenes between that moment and the hour of their appearance in the minds of their chosen subjects. The average transit time of an adjuster from Divinington to Urantia is 117 hours, 42 minutes, and 7 seconds. Virtually all of this time is occupied with registration on Uversa. 2. Prerequisites of adjuster indwelling. Though the adjusters volunteer for service as soon as the personality forecasts have been relayed to Divinington, they are not actually assigned until the human subjects make their first moral personality decision. The first moral choice of the human child is automatically indicated in the seventh mind adjutant and registers instantly, by way of the local universe creative spirit, over the universal mind-gravity circuit of the conjoint actor in the presence of the master spirit of super-universe jurisdiction, who forthwith dispatches this intelligence to Divinington. Adjusters reach their human subjects on Urantia, on the average, just prior to the 6th birthday. In the present generation, it is running 5 years, 10 months, and 4 days, that is, on the 2134th day of terrestrial life. The adjusters cannot invade the mortal mind until it has been duly prepared by the indwelling ministry of the adjutant mind spirits and encircuited in the Holy Spirit, and it requires the coordinate function of all 7 adjutants to thus qualify the human mind for the reception of an adjuster. Creature mind must exhibit the worship outreach and indicate wisdom function by exhibiting the ability to choose between the emerging values of good and evil, moral choice. Thus is the stage of the human mind set for the reception of adjusters, but as a general rule they do not immediately appear to indwell such minds, except on those worlds where the Spirit of Truth is functioning as a spirit coordinator of these different spirit ministries. If this spirit of the bestowal sons is present, the adjusters unfailingly come the instant the 7th adjutant mind spirit begins to function, and signalizes to the universe mother spirit that it has achieved in potential the coordination of the associated 6 adjutants of prior ministry to such a mortal intellect. Therefore have the divine adjusters been universally bestowed upon all normal minds of moral status on Urantia ever since the day of Pentecost. Even with a Spirit of Truth endowed mind, the adjusters cannot arbitrarily invade the mortal intellect prior to the appearance of moral decision. But when such a moral decision has been made, this spirit helper assumes jurisdiction direct from Divinington. There are no intermediaries or other intervening authorities or powers functioning between the divine adjusters and their human subjects. God and man are directly related. Before the times of the pouring out of the Spirit of Truth upon the inhabitants of an evolutionary world, the adjuster's bestowal appears to be determined by many spirit influences and personality attitudes. We do not fully comprehend the laws governing such bestowals. We do not understand just what determines the release of the adjusters who have volunteered to indwell such evolving minds. But we do observe numerous influences and conditions which appear to be associated with the arrival of the adjusters in such minds prior to the bestowal of the Spirit of Truth, and they are: 1. The assignment of personal seraphic guardians. If a mortal has not been previously indwelt by an adjuster, the assignment of a personal guardian brings the adjuster forthwith. There exists some very definite but unknown relation between the ministry of adjusters and the ministry of personal seraphic guardians. 2. The attainment of the third circle of intellectual achievement and spiritual attainment. I have observed adjusters arrive in mortal minds upon the conquest of the third circle even before such an accomplishment could be signalized to the local universe personalities concerned with such matters. 3. Upon the making of a supreme decision of unusual spiritual import. Such human behavior in a personal planetary crisis usually is attended by the immediate arrival of the waiting adjuster. 4.